Hey guys, Jill here today from Ask a Vet Tech. Today I want to talk to you about the top tips that I feel are super important for when you're planning a trip with your pet. Trying to make it as seamless as possible so that you don't have to worry about a thing. We're going to work on being proactive rather than reactive to situations. So starting out, we're going to talk a little bit about things that you need to have, just normal, common sense, everyday things, such as a collar. A collar for your pet that actually clasps like a belt or snaps together like the plastic ones. These are really good to make sure that you have something attached to your pet so that you have control of them in any situation. A lot of collars come with multiple little D-rings, they call them, where you can attach things to them, such as their tags or microchip identification. If your pet's collar is worn out in any way, shape, or form, has cracks or tears, please replace it. It's not safe. Or if it's too big, or if it's too tight. This dog right here has the perfect collar on. 2 fingers fit underneath the collar once it's hooked on, and it has its tags. And it looks super cute. This here is my favorite gold star. The harness, the collar, both have tags on them, and a nice heavy-duty leash. Cats also can wear harnesses as well. This one here has a very nice harness on. This one here has a harness and a collar on. Again, my tried and true favorite. This harness is way too loose. This cat could easily slip out of it. A cat with a collar this loose, there's no point in even having a collar on it. Breakaway collars are fine for when you're home, but not when you're traveling. The point of a breakaway collar is if they were to get stuck in a tree or stuck in something that it easily breaks away and they don't hurt themselves. Watch out for those harnesses too, because they make those that are breakaway as well. What should we put on the tag? There are so many things you could put on them, but the most important is the pet's name, the owner's name, your phone number with your area code. You're traveling, so the area code may not be the same. Good idea to put a medical alert tag on that collar too, especially if your pet is a diabetic or needs medication every day. Something even more important is a way to hang on to your dog. So I recommend a nylon leash or a leather leash. I do not recommend the famous retractable leash because they're breakable. You don't know how they're put together. You can't check to see if there's like a stress point in anything. You just hope and pray that when you let that button out that the dog comes back with it. Switching gears a little bit, talking about some cat carriers here. They make soft ones, hard ones, rubbery ones, all different kinds. But most importantly, it's good to make sure that you and your pet are comfortable with the carrier setup that you have. This trick right here is one that I wish more people knew about, taking a puppy pee pad and putting it in the bottom of their carrier. This not only allows pee to be soaked up, but if there was to be a poop accident or if you're on the road and your dog decided to start throwing up in the car, you could put it underneath of them. Microchipping is a super simple way to make sure that your pet has always got identification on it, whether it loses its collar or not. It is super simple, can be done in the office at a vet appointment where you're getting vaccines or just a physical. This microchip can be placed by the veterinary technician, so it is something that doesn't have to be done by the vet. The microchip goes just above the left shoulder and it goes between the fur and the muscle layer, so it kind of hangs out in the fascia. It can migrate a little bit, but usually doesn't. This here is as simple as reading the microchip. You just scan their back and go. Preparing documents for your trip. You're going to need a health certificate. If you're flying or if you're crossing any kind of border, you're going to need a health certificate. It kind of looks like this. It's different per each state. The reason that they make you do this is so that your pet is not carrying diseases on the airplane or to different states, traveling with sickness and possibly spreading it. At the appointment to get your health certificate, you're going to want to get a copy of your most recent medical records. You're going to want to get a copy of most recent vaccine records and update any that have been delinquent. And also you want to make sure you have a current rabies vaccine and the certificate signed by the veterinarian. If your pet takes any kind of controlled substance medication, say for seizures or whatnot, you're going to need to have a piece of paper stating why you have that medication with you. Please leave the medication in the bottles that you got it from the vet and make sure that if they ask to see it, you have it available. Preparing to fly on an airplane can be a very scary thing, especially for your pet. Checking over their carrier in these pinch points here to make sure that there's nothing broken or needs to be repaired before you head out, because it would suck to lose your cat on the plane. A lot of dogs that are smaller than 25 pounds are allowed to travel on the airplane as long as they're well behaved. If your dog weighs more than 25 pounds though, you're pretty much out of luck for flying with them. But not being on an airplane doesn't stop you from being able to travel. You can take your car. There are some safety tips I'm going to toss out here. Do not let your dog ride on the center console of your car, and it is best to have your dog in the back seat, not on the front seat, either on your lap or your passenger's lap, because if you were to get into a crash and the airbags were to deploy, you and your pet could both be seriously injured. Airbags are deployed at about 200 miles per hour, so that doesn't leave a lot of room for you to get your dog off your lap safely. Allowing your pet to have their head hanging out the window and driving down the road makes for great photo ops, but this is what I see: dust, dirt, pollen, dander, bugs, birds in their eyeballs. If you can get them to wear goggles, maybe that'd be okay, but their nose is still at risk and so are their ears. Another risk with having their head out the window is that they might see a squirrel. Some dogs just might look, and then there's the other kind. Those guys jump right out of the car and chase the squirrel while you're at a stoplight and trying to figure out how the heck to get your dog back. Another risk that I see a lot of people make is they let their dog ride in the bed of their truck. The bed liners can be grippy or they can be really slippery, and either way your dog has way too much room and can bounce around. Having a seatbelt for your dog and a harness that attaches to your dog to make sure that your dog is secure in the back seat is best. Keeping your pet on the same kind of food while they travel is much better for them than switching it to something else that you just had to find when you were there. If you know where you're heading, you should send their dogs foods and the treats ahead of time if possible, and if not, then just travel with it. But if you're flying, you might want to figure out if where you're heading has that food for sale and you can just purchase it there. Same goes for cat litter. Cats are pretty picky and sometimes they don't like new litter. While you're out shopping, you might want to make a quick trip to the pet store, pick up a new food bowl or a brand new carrier or whatever you might need that you need to replace. It's also a good idea to bring some items from home, like their favorite blankie, maybe their favorite toys. Pick them up some new ones too while you're at it. Kitties like to have those little feather toys and some catnip. Just pack what they like. You know your pet. Also, think about these toys in the hotel room because others might not like the sound of the toys you pick. Don't forget, we got to find some time for exercise in this vacation, whether it be reading the map with mom and going on a hike or hitting the beach with dad. It is also a good idea to call ahead to the town you're going to be visiting to find out if they have a veterinarian in the area that you could speak to see if maybe you had an emergency, if they would see your pet. Also, please carry a first aid kit. If you need an idea of what to put in a first aid kit, here's a link right up here in the corner. Just click that and it'll take you right to it. Thank you so much for taking your time to come along and hang out with me today and learn a little bit about traveling with your pet. I hope that I answered a lot of questions for you, and if you have any other ones that I might have missed, please leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. I really appreciate it, and it helps me to continue to put out these awesome videos. Don't forget, I'm here for you. You're here for your pet. Have a great day and safe travels.